I just posted that we were live. Pardon me. Just posted that we were live in all the classes. So let's give a minute for some people to trickle in. See if anyone has some questions. If people want to join. If it's quiet like the first stream was, we'll answer any questions. I'll talk really quick about scheduling, and we'll just call it a little earlier. Hi, Carmen. How are you? All right, we have 3 in here so far. We'll see. I'm going to wait another 2 minutes before I chat about scheduling. But the last stream this morning was very quiet as well, so we might not get a big turnout for today. I do want to just mention some quick updates on scheduling. That stuff's going to go up on Canvas very soon, probably later today, depending on how many emails that I get later on tonight. But I'll talk about it before it goes up, so that way you have an idea of what's going to come up. But I'm going to hang out for another minute and a half, see if anybody jumps in, and then we'll chat about that from there. This live stream is technically for all of my intro to psychology classes. So there's 3 classes that I send the invite to, but it's I have 1 class on Mondays and 2 on Tuesday and Thursdays that are all getting invites to every one of them. So if you're in the Monday class, even though this isn't on Monday, you're still more than welcome, and we can talk about schedule assignments and everything like that for the Monday class. The Monday class is slightly different class, but almost completely the same. There's 98% of everything is the same. So I'm always going to invite everybody together, because that way, if you can't make Monday, you can make it Thursday, sure. If you can't make if you're in the Tuesday, Thursday class and can only make the Monday, that works too. Keep it as much as I can to your schedules. I'm going to talk about scheduling in a minute, but if anybody else has any questions or anything before we do get into that, just let me know. I just want to give a couple seconds for people who might have saw the announcement and needed a couple minutes to get in. Every single Monday and every single Thursday, I'm going to do these live streams. On Mondays, it'll be 2 to 3, I think is what I have posted, whatever it's posted. I think it's 2 to 3. I'm doing so many of these that they all blend together, so I apologize there. On Thursdays, it's going to be 11:30 to 12:30, and then 1:30 to 2:30. And then based off of the turnout. So like my 11:31 today, we had 3 people show up, and then by 10 minutes into it, 15 minutes into it, everybody, everyone's questions were answered. So I didn't even post that one on YouTube for like you to come back later on or anything like that, because there was so little of a turnout that we barely did anything, barely spoke about anything. But yeah, we're going to continue to do these on YouTube. That was the last, either Monday or last Thursday, I don't remember which one. That was the consensus, is that YouTube is easier than doing it on Zoom. I'm doing it on Zoom for a different class than YouTube now for this class. But it seems like the consensus was that YouTube is a little bit better for those of you who don't have the best internet. So I'm going to continue this on YouTube every Monday, every Thursday. And the design of this is to answer any questions that you guys have, talk about upcoming schedule. So basically the same thing that I would do the first 5 minutes of class in the classroom. If we want to talk about specifics about the week's topic, like for this week's social psychology, if you guys have any questions, there's anything you didn't understand from looking at my video lecture, looking at the chapter, looking at the PowerPoint, let's talk about that kind of stuff as well. So like for this week, the video lecture really just talks about social influence. It doesn't really talk too much about social cognition. The crash course psychology video goes into it a little bit. The chapter and the PowerPoint go into it. But if you had any questions about like the fundamental attribution error, we can talk about that. Or if you had questions still about social influence, even though it's what I focused on in the video lecture, we can talk about that. But that I'll always leave up to you guys, what questions you have when you come in. Okay, so let's start talking about that. We have 6 in the channel right now, and that might be what we cap out on. So let me chat about scheduling. So 2 things I want to talk about with scheduling for today anyways was really quickly for this week, and that I'm going to do in a minute, but then the upcoming weeks. So for this week, social psychology, that discussion board has to be posted. The one thing that I wanted to mention is because there's been so many questions that I've been getting through email, through Snapchat, for the past, not just this week, but for the past couple of weeks. I just haven't had the time to get into the discussion forum to like make specific mentions to if your post was missing something or anything like that. So eventually I'm just going to use the like button just because I've had such limited time to get there. But the discussion board for social psychology is due. The first post should have been made yesterday. If you haven't, make sure you get it in today. The replies to 2 classmates by tomorrow. Yeah, you could still do the discussion for this week. If you didn't get it in by yesterday, when it was due, and you get it in today, I'm not even going to mark it late for this week. Do get it in tonight, though. If it's not in until Friday, I will mark it late because I need to give a window that people have a lot of posts to pick to on which 2 they reply to. I'm not going to mention about what goes in the discussion boards unless you have questions. It's just the 250-word post about everything in the discussion question, 2 videos. There's a couple of questions throughout, so make sure you read that whole page, replying to 2 classmates. And that's the plan for today. Research worksheets, I just this morning finished the last few that I had left to grade, so everyone should now have a grade for the research worksheet. And everyone should have a grade for the quick discussion board. So that's where we are. Now, upcoming week. So you hopefully saw the announcement that we are now online for at least till at least April 17th. The replies are due by Friday, end of day. So I won't do any grading on the forum until the weekend, into Monday. At least to April 17th. So realistically, let's look at what that means. It means that April 17th is a Friday, so it means that that Monday would be the first time that we could be meeting again. That would give us 2.5 weeks of meeting times, which is crazy. So what I am going to do is I'm going to structure this class so that you can see the grade weights, that you can see the assignments as if we are online for the rest of the semester. If we happen to be moving back into the classroom, I'll make a change for that. But realistically, looking at all the available information, that's seeming very unlikely. The idea in my head is that if they have to push it back even 1 more week, then there's really no reason to go back into the classroom for a week and a half. So I don't think that if we don't meet that day that we will end up back in the classroom this semester. I could be wrong about that. That comes from the school. That's not my decision. So what I'm going to do, though, because I really don't want to have this be a week by week, everything's changing every single week, is I'm going to post information as if we're online for the rest of the semester. If we end up switching back into the classroom, we'll change things up however it is needed for that. The one thing that will mean is that I will definitely put the very last week of the class to be the step 3, step 4 of the research assignment. So that way, if we do end up back in the classroom, it gives me time to talk with you about everything in the classroom and to figure out how we're going to do the posters in the classroom, because that'll be easier. So that'll be the last week, which means our final exam will be the last week of April. Next week is going to be our second exam. So I'm going to post information about development because for development, we only talked for about 15 minutes. I believe we got 15 to 20 minutes for the Tuesday and Thursday classes to talk about development. And I believe with my Monday class, I think I just mentioned it for like 5 minutes. I don't think I got time to go into it in more detail. So I'm going to post information about development, but I'm not going to have an assignment specific to development next week. The only assignment that I will have next week is your second exam. But your second exam is going to be using development. So that information is what I would recommend highly to take the first couple of days looking at. Now, as far as what is there for development, I have a video lecture that I recorded, and I'm going to do that every week. I aim for 10 minutes. I recorded that one. It's about 11 and a half minutes. You'll have the PowerPoint up for development. You're going to have the book chapter to read for development, and very likely one, maybe two other things that I will post for you guys. I think one. And all that information I'm going to get up for you guys very soon, depending on the volume of emails I get today, because every day I've been spending almost my entire day answering emails. If I don't get a ton, I'm going to post that later today. Tomorrow I have a lot to do for another class, so if I don't get to it today, it might not be till Saturday. But it's going to go up very soon. The exam end of the day on Friday, so you're going to have plenty of time, and the exam itself will be available to you guys on Monday. So it's going to be a basic take-home exam, multiple choice. You're just going to have to answer those questions. Make sure you review the information for development, because it's going to have development, what we talked about this week with social, and then the last chapter is intelligence, which we talked about. All of that will be next week. After that, we are going to have a week where we do the remaining group discussions are now going to be done online. So I will post information about that. That I'm going to post information about probably the beginning of next week, when you will start to see all of the information for potentially the end of the semester, for potentially the rest of the semester. All that information is going to be posting for you guys on Canvas next week is my plan. That way, my thought is that the volume of emails is going to start to slow down, because all my emails that I've been getting are just about technology. How do I use this? How do I do that? What's the discussion board? Things like that. Those should be becoming less and less. And just looking at our live stream, where we had 6 people at the cap for this week for this live stream. So I think that's a good sign that people are getting more comfortable with what they're doing. That's going to give me the time I need to get all that information. The other thing, though, I'm going to be doing is tweaking the grade weights of everything on the syllabus. Not big changes. It's going to be the same essence that it was, but it will have to accommodate that we have some graded discussion boards that are going to be posting. I am going to cancel the movie poster assignment for the Tuesday-Thursday class. Like I mentioned in a previous live stream for that class, if you already did work on it, I am going to have a place where you can submit the movie poster in place of a different assignment, if you so choose. That'll be up to you. If you didn't do any work on the movie poster, do the assignment. It's going to be less work. But if you already got done, you already watched the movie, you already found your articles, read your articles, just put the poster. That'll then be less work for you to just put the poster together. Then do that assignment. So that'll be optional. And then little tweaks on the syllabus, and I will put it in an announcement. I will copy and paste that section and explain the changes. So you'll see what they were before, you'll see what they are now, and I'll explain the changes that we'll see. The changes that we're going to see, I have to give some points to the discussion boards, but it should be more or less in your favor. You're not going to see anything negatively affecting your grades. It'll just be kind of accounting for some of the changes of everything. And the rest of the semester, we're going to have our second exam. The following week is going to be the group discussions that we still had remaining. Two of my classes had 2 discussions that were remaining, and the Monday class still had 3, I believe, unless I reversed that. But I know one class is 3, and 2 of my classes have 2. The following weeks will be on psychological disorders, memory, and personality. The only thing that I will have to do is one last thing, is I'm going to have to decide which order to do those, because if we do go back into the classroom on the 20th, that means I can do one of them in person. I just have to figure out which one I want to do in person. Sorry, I just got past a note from my new classmate, my wife. Yes, you can cook. It's not going to bother me. You just might hear a dish or something like that going off. So the only thing that I still have to decide for you guys is going to be which one we're going to do first, second, third, between memory, personality, and abnormal. And everything else is going to be up for you guys. Starting next week, you're going to see everything. When I say everything, I mean you are going to see, if you wanted to look for every single topic for the rest of the semester, you will have all of that information up there with one exception. I might not do all of the video lectures all at once. I might do the video lectures as I get the time to do that. But that'll be the only thing that's missing. You'll have the questions/assignments for each one of those weeks, except for maybe the very last week, because I don't know if we'll be in the classroom yet. So I might just not write that assignment up because I don't want someone to do that ahead of time. Then we're in the classroom, so we end up not doing that assignment. But those are the only 2 things that might not immediately go up for you. Everything else next week, but you'll see for next week when we have exam 2, that I'm going to get in the next few days. Depending on my emails tonight, I'm hoping that I'm just going to post that for you guys tonight, because there's not too much information that I have to put in that module. So if we end up online for the rest of the semester, you should have then everything up available to you guys with like 2 exceptions. So that way, the only thing I'll basically say is take a look at it ahead of time. If there's anything that looks crazy to you, let me know. But it's going to be using what we've been using so far. Everything's either going to be a discussion board or something that you just submit, like an assignment. So it's either going to be an assignment that you submit, which would be the same thing that you did for the research worksheet. How you submitted the research worksheet, you just went into that, uploaded your Word document or PDF or whatever you did, and submitted it. Either going to be that every week or a discussion board, just like the social psychology one is. I'll create the questions. They might not be using videos and as in depth. It might be talking about a specific thing from the chapter or something like that. And yeah, that's basically that information. The movie poster I'm going to cancel, and the actual poster for step 4, I'm going to make due at the end of the semester, the last week. If we end up in the classroom, we're going to do that just like it normally would have been. But I am going to have a plan for how to do that online. That I'll be early next week. Should have all that information up for you. Do you guys have questions about anything specific for scheduling or assignments or anything like that? Oh, sorry, Carmen, I missed your question. What chapter in the book is it for development? Let me check the syllabus so I give you the correct answer. Development is chapter 8. Should be on development. And that'll be the chapter on lifespan and development. Nope. Test is going to be due end of the day Friday. As soon as I make it available to you, you can load up the document and you can approach it, 2 or 3 questions at a time if you wanted to. I'm good. The test I want to make easier for you, not harder for you. So no, I'm not going to time it. I'm not going to then deal with you potentially running into issues with technology or anything like that. It's going to be very much just a take-home exam, and it's still going to be multiple choice. I'm not going to change anything over from what we were originally planning to do. So the one thing I would note, though, when it comes to the test, yes, the exam 2 will be due April 3rd by end of the day. It will be available to you on April 30th, on March 30th, I'm sorry. So you'll have 5 days to do it, and you can do it at your leisure. Now, the one thing I will note, though, with the second exam, because I'm doing it this way, I do not expect to see any curve on the exam. The in-person class for exam 1, we had a curve. It wasn't, if I remember right, it wasn't over the top. It was a normal curve that we had, but I wouldn't expect a curve for this. So whereas for the first exam, if your raw score was a 70, you probably got about an 80. For this one, if your raw score was a 70, it would probably be a 70. But I expect, because it's a take-home exam, the advantages of obviously being able to have the PowerPoint, the textbook with you as you're answering that, I'd highly expect the average score without any curve to probably be somewhere between like an 85 and a 90 without any curve. I think there's probably going to be a lot of you that end up getting like 95 plus. At least I hope. I'm looking at my arm in the video screen. I'm like, oh my God, how pale am I getting now? I need to get more sunlight. This is terrible. You can sit at the table and. Oh, okay. I'm like, I know I'm using our table to do this stream here, but you can sit at the coffee table. I think that might very well be true. I am looking forward to going for a nice walk today. I shouldn't have said that. My dog's too busy with my wife eating, so she didn't even hear. But I'm very much looking forward to going and getting some sun for today. The thing that would make, at least for me, if the weather warms up like permanently and it's not just one day of warm weather and then cold again, if we just could get to like springtime 70s, this wouldn't be nearly as bad for me. Just being able to go for walks every day and just enjoy some nature. The only thing due will be the test next week. There will be some other information that I will ask and expect that you're taking a look at. You're going to need to look at the development chapter, or you won't be able to answer those questions in the test, obviously. But I'll post probably definitely one YouTube clip, which is a lecture on development. 11 and a half minutes. I recorded it already. It's a little different than the social one, where the social one, I basically just focused on 2 things. The one on development, I'm basically taking like, I'd say like 90 seconds to talk about 6 different things. But I'll definitely have that, and I'm going to probably post a crash course video, maybe something different, but probably going to post another crash course video. I want to find the best 1, maybe 2 short videos to post for some complimentary information. And then it's just the textbook chapter and the PowerPoint. But the only thing graded will be the test for next week. Yes, no discussion boards or anything like that. So hopefully that's an advantageous way to improve your grade. It's a take-home test. It's not timed. I'm giving you plenty of time. I hope that everybody ends up getting an A on the test. That way, it's a nice little, all right, all this bad is actually something good about it. I'm getting a nice little boost to my grade. I think that this will probably be like our group discussion assignments, where basically every group is doing really, really well on them. I think for all of my intro to psychology classes, I think this probably had about 20, and I want to say 19 of the 20 groups ended up with a high B to A on those assignments. That's what I hope is going to happen for our second exam. probably 9 out of 10 of you end up with like a high B or an A, and just 1 out of the 10 do poorly. Well, I don't hope that you do poorly, but do a little bit worse, do a little bit less. That's what I expect to see happen. I'd actually be very, very happy if I give all hundreds and 98s and something like that for that test. Those are a lot easier to grade and make my days a lot more refreshing. That would make me very happy if I could look at this and say, all right, even though we are online, it's working for us. Anybody else have any questions? I see your numbers dropped a little bit for how many are here, so maybe that means I answered a couple of questions. Couple of people, it looks like, have been coming in and out, so there's probably some new faces that weren't here when I went over the schedule like 10 minutes ago when we were talking about the schedule. So if you have any questions, didn't hear anything, let me know. We can chat about it. But I now talked about everything that I know I wanted to talk about for today, so it's really just a matter of what questions that you guys have. What are you eating? Popeye? Didn't smell like it. Does her pup beg a little bit too much? Look at her. Look at her. Hi, Mom. Dad ate a banana before I came over here and he gave me a piece. Yeah, Dad tried that. He put the banana in the breakfast bowl, but I didn't eat it. I just ate the banana. By the way, that's my dog voice. I forgot I was live streaming for a second. I have my dog's inner child voice pretty much down. All right, if you guys have questions, keep asking me. Carmen, my guess, I think we're going to end up online for the rest of the semester. I don't know that for sure. The school has only said through April 17th now. Everything going on, I think there's a good chance that April 13th, like Trump said, is when we start to open up some parts of the economy, but probably not all parts of the economy. And to that, when we're looking at higher education for 3 weeks, when we already have in place online learning, I suspect that there's probably going to be a specific mention that colleges should remain closed for the rest of the semester. But I don't know that. I don't know that. But to be honest, it would surprise me if we ended up back in the classroom at all. If we ended up even pushing it back 1 week, I look at that. Why would the school bring us back for a week and a half? Maybe the school would say, like, if you want to do a in-person final exam or something like that, by all means. But I don't think I don't think if we end up pushed back at all from that April 17th day that it's going to make sense. So my best guess is that we're going to be online for the rest of the semester. I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times before, so we'll see. All right, for the two of you guys that are still here, if you have any questions, let me know. What I'm actually going to do is invite in a different class. It's another intro to psychology class, but I haven't been including that one on these live streams because some of the assignments are very different. So I've been doing that one separately, but because their turnout is so low here, I'm going to invite them in as well. So in case they have any questions or anything, just to give them an extra window. I doubt, since it's not a scheduled live stream, I'm going to get anyone that pops in from there. But keep asking me questions. If you guys do have questions, we could still talk about it. It's still intro to psychology. It's just they're just on a very different schedule than we are. Have a great day too, Carmen. Have a nice day. You have a meeting at 2:30?
I hear everyone else like banging around plates and forks and shit.
Well, yeah, if they're not going to schedule a time for lunch in the meeting, what do they want people to do? I mean, on my Thursdays, when I do these streams, I have the hour break in between. I can always cook you something for lunch. If you need me to cook you anything for lunch while you're like in your meetings, and you can just eat while you're doing your conference.
But no, I talked for somebody. Their meeting was supposed to be 10:30 to 2,
Mm.
and then something came up where they had to walk something in. And they're like, and he emailed me back, was like, oh, are you available 2:30 to 4? And I'm like, yes. Great.
Hi, whoever just stopped in. I just posted in that class. I don't know if you're from the Wednesday class, but if you're in the Wednesday class, I just posted a link. So I'm going to kind of hang out for a minute or two, see if anybody does poke their head in. But if you have any questions for me, for the two of you, it looks like you just poked your head in. If you have any questions, so right now, my live stream that I was doing for my other class ended early. So if you guys have any questions, I'm assuming that everybody here right now is from the Wednesday class. If you have any questions for me, let me know. This is something I'll be doing every Wednesday for you guys. I'll do it for an hour. I'm going to probably do it in the middle of when our normal class time was. I'm thinking 11:30 to 12:30. So it's a nice little time for everybody to break for lunch. I'll do that every week as long as there's some popularity to doing that. I didn't do it this week because we have that extended spring break. But with that said, I had the extra time. I said, all right, maybe some people have some questions and would like to pop in. But it's designed that I can answer any questions that you might have, whether it's about the topic for the week, whether it's about an assignment due that week, something in the future, whatever it might be. The big thing I talked about with the other class for today is it's sounding more and more likely that we're going to be online for the rest of the semester. So what I'm going to do is start to put a schedule together for us to be online for the rest of the semester. Now, if we end up not, we'll change it then. But what I don't want to do, what's started to drive me crazy already, is have to put 1 week at a time up. And that's kind of where we were in this limbo state where they're like, all right, for next week we're online, for next week we're online. At this point, I just want to put up the information for the rest of the semester to be online. If we end up back in the classroom, I'll change it from there. But I think more and more that we're going to end up online for the rest of the semester. So I want to have that information up for you to view. I'm going to update. I'm going to update the grading and everything like that. Emily, what I'm not going to do is live, like mandatory Zoom sessions. I had a lot of requests to stick to YouTube for this and not Zoom, simply because Zoom tests your internet connection, your bandwidth, a lot more than YouTube does. So I think I'm going to stick to doing these on YouTube. If the kind of class as a whole just would rather do Zoom, I still have Zoom and can absolutely do it. It's the same difference to me. But the problem with Zoom is it uses a lot more bandwidth. So especially right now where we have our whole families in the house with us, YouTube might work a little bit better. But either way, I can do either one. But what I won't do is make those mandatory. I will post lectures for you asynchronously. So I'll post a YouTube video of a lecture for you. They're going to be much shorter than we would do normally in the classroom. So you're going to have to still make sure you're taking a look at the PowerPoint and the textbook. And then what I'm going to do is things like this, where it's optional. You come in, if you have any questions, if it's about the chapter, you come in, we'll talk about something that we needed to talk about more. If it's about an assignment, we talk about that. Whatever you guys really want us to talk about, whatever you're all interested in or curious about, confused about. I won't make them mandatory. So I teach a lot online, and this semester, what we're going to do for our class is I'm not going to do this the same as I would for an online class. And I think that's why a lot of people are doing live lectures through Zoom and things like that. But everything that I have been trained about is that doesn't work. And it actually is counterproductive to do them. So I'm not going to make them mandatory. I'm not going to do, like an hour and a half or something like that where I'm talking about a topic. It just goes against the research on how online learning works. People don't pay, their attention span just doesn't work when you're looking at a screen for that kind of a period of time. So what I'd rather do is make them optional for those who need it. We're going to have a outlet for that. And for those who don't, we don't need to go that direction. For right now, next week is going to be the exam. And then I'm going to start posting a lot of information for you all, probably beginning-ish of next week. By the end of next week, I think I'll have the whole rest of the semester for online available to you. And I'm going to organize it pretty well for you. I think what I'm actually going to do is create, just label things by the date on that toolbar on your left-hand side, as opposed to putting everything in the articles and PowerPoints tab. I think I'm going to have tabs just labeled by dates. So that way it should be a little straightforward to which one you have to click at any given time. And what you'll see every single week, every week we'll have obviously the PowerPoint that you already have available and the book chapter for every week. But every week you'll have a video lecture. I'm going to aim for 10 minutes. I recorded 2 of them, and those 2 both were about 11 minutes. So I'm aiming for 10 minutes. The idea being, make sure you watch the 10-minute video. It's not going to be, the hour and 20 minutes that I would normally be lecturing about a topic in the classroom. It'll be much shorter, to the point. I'm going to talk slow, but not not as slow as I would in the classroom. So, I'll be I'm not going to like speed talk is what I don't want it to sound like, but I am going to try to go through information fairly quickly because you can always pause and rewind. And then I'll always post something extra. That something extra is usually going to be something, maybe a clip from a TED Talk or something from Crash Course Psychology. I'm a big fan of Crash Course Psychology. So I think I'm going to be using that a little bit more often than not, and posting information about that. I'm going to wait to really talk about this in a lot of detail until next Wednesday, because I think when I do the one during that class time, I think I'll have a lot more people that show up than the just happen to have a few extra minutes. All right, if you're around, come stop by. But I will talk about this in a lot more detail on next Wednesday. But I'm going to have kind of two optional term papers. One of which is the one that we have on the syllabus with the behavior modification. But if that's something that's just so hard to do, and for a lot of you, you can't even do what you were planning on doing. Someone that was going to go to the gym may not be able to do that anymore, obviously. A whole lot of your reinforcements are like going out to dinner. Well, that can't really happen right now. So if what you wanted to do just completely got blown up in your face, I'll have a more traditional, just basic, research paper that you can write up instead if you so choose. So you could do either one of them. I'll talk about that in more detail on Wednesday. I'm going to actually wait to even update information on that until Wednesday of next week. But I will have something available to those of you who just at this point, you just don't want to do the behavior modification. I totally understand. Even if you were going to do something like cursing, you might not want to do that right now, just because you're cooped up and you're already frustrated. The last thing you want to do is pay attention to something like that. I get it. And maybe cursing might be a good one to still do it on, because some of us are probably cursing a lot more than we otherwise do. But it'll be optional, whichever one of those two choices you want to go for. And the rest of the semester is basically just going to be a week for our group discussions to happen online that still needed to go. And I think we have 3 to go, if I remember. And then a week for memory, a week for psychological disorders, a week for personality, and then final exam, final papers. So do you guys have any questions? Been a couple people coming in and out. That could have been from my previous class, or it could be from our class. I don't know if anyone has any questions about anything. And next week is going to be the take-home exam. That one, the great part is, since we did the first exam that way, really not too concerned with can you do it, do you know how to submit and everything like that. Maybe a little for everyone to do. Oh, my connection is unstable. Hopefully I'm back. It said I got the notification that my connection was unstable, so hopefully I'm back. Internet is being taxed in my house quite a bit as my wife is working as well as me. And if you happen to see, we have my best classmate right here. My little pup joined me. But yeah, that's basically all I want to talk about for right now with you guys. If you have any questions, you let me know. I will have a extra credit thing that's going to go up. Just testing that you can use the discussion board. I was going to post that later today, but I think I might wait a little bit. I've been overwhelmed with emails for right now. And then I'll just make it something you could do next week, one way or the other. It's going to be something you could do next week. Yeah, that's where I am right now. You guys have any questions for me? I have another thereabouts of 10 minutes of time dedicated for this live stream. So if you guys have questions for me, type them out. Let me know. If you don't, you can also email me the questions if for whatever reason you can't chat on the YouTube chat. You don't have, I don't know if you need the account. I think you just put in a name, but if you don't have an account and can't do it or something, You can email me the questions, and I will be checking my email as I do this. As a matter of fact, let me do that because I haven't looked for quite a bit. Okay, it doesn't look like I have any questions through email or anything like that. Like I said, I'm here for 10 minutes. If you have any questions, you let me know. But I don't really have anything specifically to bring up unless you do. I will do another one of these on Wednesday, dedicated to the Wednesday class. I'm going to do that, I think, 11:30 to 12:30. Next week is the exam for every single class that could be in this room right now. Technically, there could be 4 classes that are in there because I've been continuously live streaming with the same link. But every one of the classes would have their second exam next week. And you guys just let me know if you have any questions. I don't think I can possibly watch the news anymore for right now. So I'm going to switch something else on. Okay, a little Harry Potter out. And if I don't want to watch Harry Potter, there seems to be nothing I want to watch. I'll find something on Netflix after I'm done here. Ain't no puppers. Mommy and Daddy are home, and neither one of us have been able to really pay attention to you because we're working. You know. It doesn't seem like anybody had any questions for the past couple minutes, so I'm going to end the stream a couple minutes early. For if anyone's here from the Monday class, I'll see everybody on Monday for the next live stream there. And for the Wednesday class that I invited towards the end, I'll be doing it the same style on Wednesday. If we do end up on Wednesday having a lot of questions about like the actual chapter and would do it on Zoom, we can do that too. But we'll figure that out on Wednesday. All right. I'll see everybody next week.